Good evening everyone, it's Christine here again, and I thought I'd pop on quickly and share a work in progress of my Roxy Journal of Stitchery Christmas page for this 2-week period. So the prompts that we got for our Roxy Journal of Stitchery page was either Santa Claus or a winter fox. So I've decided here to do a combination of both Santa Claus and a winter fox, which I'm calling Santa Paws. So I've got my little fox down here. I've put a felt hat on him with some little lace work decorations, which I've sewed on both on the band of the hat and the top of the hat. It's just the head of the fox on this occasion, and the fox is actually off a pair of dog's pajamas. So I guess I've heard the saying about the cat's pajamas, not heard the dog's pajamas before. But these were a pair that I got for our puppy Travis, but he's grown out of them. But I just love the little fox motif on the pajamas, and so I decided to keep it and was hoping to have a reason to add it to one of my projects, which I now do. And so my little Santa Paws is popping out of a present. So this is a lovely piece of fabric I got from the Sewing Lair online shop. This one, I think, is a vintage piece of tartan ribbon. This one's from my Nana's fabric collection. So what I've done with the presents is I've just sewed each of those separately and tucked the ends underneath. Because this fabric in the middle wasn't particularly stiff or strong itself, I used a piece of felt as the base of that, and then just sewed the present around that. And I haven't actually sort of turned the ends under there. I've just stitched over the ends onto the felt. I've purposely left the top of the present open because I want my fox to look like he's popping out of the present, and I'm probably going to have his head intentionally on an angle so that it's got this little squirrel and it looks like the little squirrel is running up his hat. I just like adding little elements of whimsy like that to my work. I've got a nice little French vintage French laundry label down here, and it has the initials HO, so ho ho ho. I think that's a bit of fun. And then my fabric that I've got as my background, my woodland background, is an old IKEA pillowcase. Well, it's actually not that old. I think it's from one of the recent years. But when I saw the fabric, I thought it was, yeah, a bit of fun, and yeah, got it so that I could use it in my sewing projects. And it's a nice lightweight piece, but because it's lightweight, I've decided to add some more robust elements as well and use some of these upholstery samples as my border for my middle block. And then I've put all of it onto a backing of a pillowcase, a cotton pillowcase, which once I've stitched it all together, I'll be folding, double folding so that I get no raw edges, and putting the pillowcase underneath so that you can't actually see it all the way around, and stitching that down. So what you can see I've done here is I've just used the upholstery samples just as the edging, but left the center empty. And for this particular prompt, or actually it's for this month, we've got to create a belly band as part of our work. So for this block, I've decided to use the presents as my belly band, and what I'm going to be doing is sewing just along the top and along the bottom, but leaving the sides open. And my plan is to put a little strip in the middle, and possibly with a little tag extending out, that can be then pulled out, and I'm going to put a little story on that of something very funny that I said to my mum when I was a little girl and she was talking about Santa Claus coming that evening. So I'll share that in my next video when I show you my completed piece. I'm also using here just little bits of lace and edging to just add some interest to the outer patchwork border, and almost like bits of, I guess, tape sort of holding the different bits of fabric together. I've intentionally used quite muted tones here, so sort of earthy tones along the bottom to kind of evoke the sense of the floor of the forest, the floor of the woodland, and some darker colours up here to sort of evoke the sense of those darker spots in the forest. Some length pieces here to pick up the sense of trees, bushes, and the sort of the night sky that you might get, or the stars and the moonlight that you might see through the trees in the forest. So just trying to evoke some senses with the fabric that's around. And these are just, yeah, really lovely vintage pieces, remnants of laces and things. So it's so great with slow stitching. You don't need a lot. You can use your little end pieces that have little bits trailing off them, and it all really adds to the sense of it. Even bits that have staining on them, it just gives a lovely sense. And it's kind of nice to be able to combine pieces that have the more strong white or bright whites with the more antique-y looking off-white, even sort of merging into the sort of, yeah, the grey whites. So that's my piece before I stitch it all together. Who knows, as I stitch it, I might decide to do some things slightly different, but I'll definitely come back online and show you the finished product and tell you my funny little story that I'll be writing about inside my belly band. So thanks for stopping by, and see you soon. Bye everyone. Good evening everyone, it's Christine here again. I hope you are having a fantastic day or a fantastic evening. I'm back to share the completed product for my block for this 2-week period for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, the Christmas or the winter edition, depending which you're doing, or some people are doing a combination of prompts. So the prompt that we had for this 2-week period was Santa Claus or a winter fox. Now I decided to combine the two prompts and do Santa Paws down here. So I've used the fox motif, and then I've actually added a felt, a felt Christmas hat on my Santa Paws, as well as some vintage lacework pieces here, and on the top, the pom-pom on the hat. So my fox is popping out of the open top of my present here, which I made with a piece of fabric that I folded round and sewed onto a piece of felt to give it a bit more structure. And then I've got another present over here that's been made with a piece of tartan, it's quite a soft sort of, yeah, fabric here, and then a piece of my Nana's fabric over here. And then those 3 presents were all stitched together, and they've been left open so that they form the belly band on the page. And so what I've done over here is incorporated a little hidden feature that can be pulled out like that. And it's using a piece of upholstery fabric on the front, a piece of binding over here, which I've stitched on. And then on the back, I've got a piece of cardboard. And there was actually already some cardboard lining this because it's from an upholstery sample. So it had the name of the upholstery on the back. But then I've put the cardboard and written a funny little story from when I was a child, and my mum asked me if I wanted her to hang my Christmas stocking on the end of my bed, and I immediately responded, I don't want some old man coming into my room at night. So that was the end of the stocking being hung in the room. I think it ended up being hung out in the main section of the house. And it must have been around the time when there was a lot of discussion about stranger danger. We had a whole program called safety houses, which were places that you could go to if you ever felt sort of in danger, if you were out on the streets, and we had people sort of walking to school together, or really keeping an eye on strangers. So I think I'd taken on board the stranger danger messages and thought, nope, not appropriate to have some strange old man coming into my room at night. But anyway, I thought that would be a fun little story to add in this little belly band pocket on my piece. And then I've used, as I mentioned last time, a piece of IKEA fabric. And what I've done is done a whole lot of little seed stitches, which I'll show you up close a bit more, right across the entire fabric, which combines the fabric with the other pieces that are underneath it. So what it ends up doing is giving you a really good sort of, I guess, stiffness and texture to it from the stitching. I've used a crochet thread. This was a section that was on a big roll, or a series of rolls that I actually got from the Sewing Lair online op shop. So you can see I've got a mass of crochet threads, all different colours, including I've also got some that are more in the off-white colour as well. And these all last me for a very long time, and this was just a section that I had that was on one of the ends, and so I just untangle it as I go and use the sections of it. Sorry, I've got a bit of a croaky voice today, don't know why. Probably been talking too much during the working day. So I used, the crochet thread to do the little seed stitches where you just come up through the layers of fabric and back down relatively close to where you came up, just so you get tiny little stitches. Now on this side around this tree, I've done some really close seed stitches, as you can see there, as though there's a sort of a flurry of a snowstorm coming through. And then over on this side, I've done my stitches a bit further out and not as long, so they're more little dots over here. So that's like a lighter dusting of snow that's happening. And then down along the bottom, I've just done some horizontally to sort of pick up the sense of snow on the ground. So as we saw last time, I've got a border along the bottom. Again, that's just from an upholstery type fabric. And then I've got a range of upholstery fabrics around the side to make a border. I've then got pieces of old doily or pieces of old lace around all the edges, just random different colours, different sizes of pieces, trying to sort of give the sense of like sticky tape sticking, or stickers sort of, sticking the sections together. I've then made use of the French vintage laundry labels here, which spell out ho, ho, ho. And then I also decided to put on, and I just remembered when I was actually looking in a box, I've got these ones with SS for Secret Santa. So I thought my Santa Paws is my Secret Santa for this piece. So let's just turn it over so you can see how it's all been put together. So I've used a backing piece of cotton. So this was just from a cotton pillowcase, I think it was. And so I'd sewn the border pieces onto that. And then I'd also then sewn and tucked under the piece of IKEA fabric onto that. And then sewn all of the presents just along the tops, but not leaving this one open fabric wise at the top there, and along the bottom, so that I would leave this open as a pouch that my little story can slide in and out of. So I'd sewed all of that in that order, also then just putting the embellishments in terms of the lace on the top of that. I actually did that right towards the end once I saw how it was all looking. And as you can see on the back, there's hundreds and hundreds of the stitches which make up then the seed stitch on the front. Sorry, there's a bit of shadow. It is that time of day when the sun is still shining brightly, even though it is evening. And you can see where the outline of my fox is there, and then the area where I haven't sewn, where there is that belly band, that pocket for that story. And what I did in the process of sewing was I put under the ends of the fabric, folded it over, and then sewed those down so that they just form a neat edge that won't fray. But I haven't worried about the edges of these. What I've done is just caught them with my sewing as I sewed them down. With this one, I've just caught that edge. This edge I've just left loose, and likewise with these where I felt they needed catching, I've done that. So that is my piece. Really happy with how it's turned out, and hopefully it gives you some ideas around how you can do seed stitching. Sorry, I just saw a little thread down there. Seed stitching, how you can do a belly band sort of style pocket, making use of recycled, reclaimed fabrics and items, and how you might use laces, etc. How you might also make a border to go around a central piece when you want to use a piece of material like this rather than patchworking them together. So I hope you like that, and I hope it has given you some ideas, and have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful day. Take care, everyone. Hope you're not getting too crazy as we come into this lead up to Christmas and lead up to the summer season here in Australia, or I guess the winter season for many of you in other parts of the world. So take care, everyone, and I hope to see you back soon. Bye.